Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. 6 weeks before our wedding, Jade texted me while I was at work. "Wedding's off unless you sign a prenup giving me everything." No greeting, no explanation. Just that sentence sitting on my screen like a live wire. I read it twice before calling her. "You're kidding, right?" "No, Thomas," she said flatly. "I'm serious. My friend Isabel got divorced last month and lost half her savings. I'm not going to make the same mistake." "Okay," I said carefully. "What kind of prenup are we talking about?" "Nothing crazy," she replied. "What's mine stays mine. What's yours? Well, that becomes ours." I actually laughed once, short and quiet. "That's not how prenups work, Jade." "It is if you love me," she said. "Unless you're planning to leave me someday." That landed like a trap. My instincts told me to stop arguing, so I said, "Send it over. I'll take a look." 15 minutes later, an email arrived, titled "Sign or We're Done." Attached was a 10-page document that looked like it had been written by a lawyer with a grudge. It said that if we divorced, she'd get the house I was currently buying. She'd keep 70% of all assets earned during the marriage, plus 10 years of alimony. She kept all gifts, including the engagement ring. I'd also have to waive any claim to her current or future assets, properties, or beneficial interests under the Silvercrest Trust. That last line made me pause. I'd never heard of that trust before. I forwarded the document to Maria Alvarez, an attorney friend who had helped me with a contract once. She called back within minutes, her tone sharp and direct. She explained that what Jade had sent wasn't a prenuptial agreement. It was a financial setup designed to strip me of everything. The language, she said, was aggressive and one-sided, especially the line about the Silvercrest Trust. That specific clause stood out to her, and she wanted to know what it referred to. I told her I had no idea. Maria advised me to find out before even considering signing, and she was firm about one thing. I wasn't to put my name on anything until we understood exactly what Jade was trying to hide. That night, Jade walked in and set her bag down. "So, are we good?" she asked. "I'm having someone review it," I said. "You don't trust me?" "It's not about trust," I said. "It's about not being stupid." She didn't reply, just turned away and went to the bedroom without another word. And for the first time since I'd met her, the silence between us didn't feel temporary. Maria didn't waste time. By the next afternoon, she called me back, voice clipped but calm. "Thomas, I found Silvercrest," she said. "It's a private family trust, established in her grandfather's name. Jade's listed as a beneficiary. There's also a new company, Silvercrest Properties LLC, registered under her maiden name." I rubbed my eyes. "You're sure it's her?" "Same address she used on the prenup," Maria said. "And get this. Last month, the LLC bought a townhouse in Brookview, paid in cash. Jade had told me her marketing job barely covered her own bills. I'd been paying rent, groceries, car payments, everything. She'd even let me put the wedding deposits on my credit card. When she came home that evening, she acted like nothing had changed. She was sitting on the couch, scrolling through centerpiece ideas. "How was your day?" she asked without looking up. "Informative," I said. "I have a quick question. What's Silvercrest?" Her hand froze mid-scroll. "What?" "The Silvercrest Trust. It's mentioned in your prenup." Her expression tightened for half a second before she smiled. "Oh, that. It's my family's old investment thing. There's nothing in it. Just formality." "Maria says otherwise." She frowned. "You had her look into it?" "Of course. It's a legal contract." "That's invasive," she said, her voice sharper now. "You don't need to involve outsiders in our relationship." "Then you shouldn't have started it with legal paperwork." Her tone softened. "Thomas, it's not a big deal. The trust isn't mine, okay? It's just something my dad handles. Please don't turn this into drama." I nodded slowly. "Sure," I said. "No drama." But the next morning, Maria sent another email. Attached was a screenshot of a property record. Buyer, Silvercrest Properties, LLC. Managing member, Jade Lawson. The woman I thought I knew was starting to look like someone else entirely. By Friday, I'd stopped pretending things were normal. I met with Maria after work, and she slid a few papers across her desk. "I wrote something cleaner," she said. "If Jade really wants a prenup, this one's fair." I scanned the pages. It wasn't complicated. Everything either of us owned before marriage stayed separate. Anything earned during marriage was split evenly, and both of us had to fully disclose any assets worth more than $10,000. If either person hid something, it'd automatically belong to the other. Think she'll sign this? I asked. Maria smirked. Not a chance. But it'll show you exactly what she's hiding. That night, I asked Jade for dinner at her favorite restaurant. She came dressed like it was date night. Over dessert, I pulled out the folder. You wanted a prenup. Here's one I can agree to. She flipped through the pages, her face unreadable at first. Then, her smile cracked. What's this part about disclosure? It just says we're both honest about what we have. Nothing to hide, right? That's invasive, she said. You're acting like I'm lying to you. I'm asking for transparency, I replied. Her tone sharpened. You think I'd marry you just to take your money? You don't even have much, Thomas. Exactly. So why are you so worried about it? For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said quietly, You either sign mine or the wedding's off. I looked at her, calm, steady. Okay, I said. Her eyes brightened. So you'll sign? No, I said. The wedding's off. I stood, left enough cash to cover the meal, and walked out. She didn't follow me. By the time I got home, my phone was vibrating nonstop. Calls, texts, voicemails. You're being manipulated. You're throwing away our future. But for the first time in weeks, my head was clear. The silence that night didn't feel empty. It felt like peace trying to find its way back. The next morning, Jade's version of events was already making the rounds. Mutual friends texted, asking if I'd really refused to protect her future. By noon, one of her bridesmaids posted a vague quote about selfish men and red flags. Subtlety was never Jade's strength. I ignored it. Silence is underrated. But by evening, her father, Raymond, called. Thomas, my daughter's upset, he began. His voice was calm, polished, like a man used to getting his way. She tells me you're refusing to sign a reasonable agreement. Reasonable? I asked. It gives her everything and leaves me with debt. He chuckled. Son, it's just protection. Did you help her write it? He hesitated. I reviewed it. I want Jade safe if things ever go wrong. Then you should have told her to make it fair, I said. Or at least honest. What do you mean by that? I mean the Silvercrest Trust. Silence. Then, that's none of your concern. It is when your daughter lies about it while I'm paying for her life. Careful, son, he said sharply. Accusations can ruin lives. So can secrets, I replied, and ended the call. A few hours later, Jade went online again. Her new post said she'd escaped emotional manipulation and that I'd tried to control her finances. That one stung, not because people believed it, but because I realized how practiced she was at playing the victim. I didn't respond directly. I just posted one photo, the paragraph from her prenup stating she keeps 70% of marital assets, including the house purchased by the husband. Caption, her idea of fairness. It took exactly 15 minutes for the comments to turn. Wait, she wanted him to sign that? That's wild. Then a surprise comment appeared. Isabel, the friend whose divorce supposedly inspired all this. That's not what I told her to do. I said, protect yourself, not rob someone. Within hours, Jade deleted her posts. But it was too late. Once people see the truth, they don't unsee it. 2 days after the social media storm, I got a call from Raymond. Thomas, he said smoothly, let's be practical. You don't want this drama dragging on, and neither do we. I agree, I said. So, what's your plan? You walk away quietly. No lawsuits, no gossip. In return, I'll make it worth your while. Meaning? $25,000. Consider it compensation for the inconvenience. I laughed once. That's not compensation, Raymond. That's a bribe. Fine. 50. Still a bribe. He sighed. You're making this harder than it needs to be. My daughter's future depends on keeping certain financial matters private. Be reasonable. I said, until you both lied. Think carefully, he warned. If this gets messy, no one wins. He hung up. I called Maria right after. She didn't sound surprised. He's trying to bury it, she said. But he slipped. Certain financial matters. That means the Silvercrest Trust is still active. Can we use that? I asked. Maybe, she said. But listen, if the trust's distributions are under review, any hint of fraud could freeze them. That would be bad news for them. A small idea formed in my mind. The next evening, I asked Jade and her parents to meet me at a quiet restaurant. They arrived looking defensive, sitting together like a united front. Jade crossed her arms. "What's this about, Thomas?" "It's simple," I said. "We call off the wedding, we both move on, and you tell people it was mutual. No lies, no drama." Raymond frowned. "And if we don't?" "Then I file a complaint about financial deception related to the Silvercrest Trust," I said evenly. "It would freeze everything until an audit clears it." Eleanor, her mother, went pale. "You wouldn't." "I would," I said, "but I don't want to. I just want to walk away clean." Raymond looked at Jade, then back at me. "Fine," he said finally. "No drama. No posts. We'll handle it quietly." They stood to leave. Jade's face was stone. She didn't look at me once. The following week, my phone buzzed with an unknown message. "Hey, this is Jacob. You don't know me, but you probably should." He turned out to be Jade's ex. We met at a coffee shop 2 days later. He was quiet, careful with his words, but his eyes told me he'd been through the same storm. "She pulled the same stunt with me," he said. "Different setup, same playbook. She acted broke, said her dad was struggling, and I covered everything. Then a lawyer called me about a confidentiality agreement. He pulled out his phone and showed me a scanned NDA, Jade's name right at the top. She offered me 50 grand to sign and shut up. I took it. Figured it was cheaper than dealing with her family." I sat back. "Let me guess. Silvercrest?" He nodded. "Yep. Back then, she said it was a charity fund. Turns out, it's where she hides her inheritance money." "Why tell me now?" I asked. "Because you didn't take the deal," he said. "And people like that need someone who doesn't scare easily." When I left, I called Maria again. "He has proof," I told her. "An NDA, payments, everything." Maria whistled. "That's enough to make the trust panic. They can't have multiple NDAs tied to alleged deception. If regulators see that pattern, they'll open an audit automatically." She wasn't wrong. 3 days later, the trustees of Silvercrest sent Jade a formal notice. An internal investigation was being launched. I knew because Maria's firm represented one of their affiliates, and word spread fast in quiet circles. That night, Jade showed up. She looked exhausted, her confidence gone. "You started something you don't understand," she said. "You've ruined my family." "I didn't ruin anything," I said. "You just stopped being able to hide it." Her eyes filled with anger. "You'll regret this, Thomas." "I doubt it," I said. "Truth usually ages better than lies." She slammed the door on her way out. It was the last time I saw her before everything unraveled. The audit began faster than anyone expected. Within a week, Silvercrest froze all active distributions. Jade's accounts were locked, and her father, Raymond, was called in for questioning by the trustees. The quiet family wealth they'd guarded for years suddenly became public paperwork. Maria called one morning, almost sounding impressed. "They found misused funds," she said. 2 accounts traced directly to Jade. Property bought under the LLC vacation payments. I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly. "So, what happens now?" "She'll lose her position as a beneficiary," Maria said, "and Raymond might be fined for enabling it. They'll have to sell the townhouse, too." The news hit local circles like wildfire. People stopped asking if I'd done something wrong. They already knew. Jade went quiet online for a few days, then posted one final message. "Don't believe everything you hear." It didn't help. A week later, I ran into her at a grocery store. She was standing in the express lane, her eyes red, face pale. She spotted me and froze. "This is your fault," she said under her breath. "No," I said calmly. "This is the truth catching up. I loved you, Thomas." "No," I replied. "You loved control." The cashier's scanner beeped between us. Her card declined twice. She stormed out, muttering something I couldn't hear. I didn't follow. That night, Maria called again. "Raymond took a deal," she said. "Paid fines and stepped down as trustee. Jade's inheritance was revoked. She's officially out." I didn't celebrate. I just sat in the quiet, feeling something closer to relief than victory. Sometimes justice doesn't look dramatic. It just looks like the truth standing alone after all the noise dies down. 3 months later, life was quiet again. The wedding venue refunded my deposit after I explained what happened. I used the money to take a solo trip to Lisbon. I walked through the streets and remembered what peace felt like. No calls, no arguments, no ultimatums disguised as love. A few weeks after I got home, someone sent me a video link. Jade had started a social media page about surviving a manipulative ex. In the comments, people asked why she'd been investigated for fraud if she was the victim. The video disappeared an hour later. I didn't bother responding. Some people never stop performing. One evening, while closing my laptop, I realized I felt no anger anymore. Just distance. The kind you only get after walking out of something that was never meant to last. Jade's message, the one that started it all, flashed in my mind. Wedding's off unless you sign a prenup giving me everything. She thought it was a threat. Turned out it was a gift. It gave me back my judgment, my independence, and my peace. Now, when people ask what I learned, I keep it simple. If someone hands you a contract instead of trust, believe what they're showing you, and always read the fine print. Thank you for watching.